You can't be afraid that someone's gonna steal your idea.
Yeah.
Cause once they figure out how much work it is, it ain't gonna be for them.
Ain't for them.
No. Cause everyone's like, aren't you nervous to tell people? Cause the first hops farm I called, they're like, we never heard of anybody doing that. And I'm like, But even that, I'm like, all right, well, if someone else start doing it, best of luck to them.
Best of luck.
Yeah. All right, welcome back to Surviving Startup. I'm one of your hosts, Juman.
And I am the other host, Terry. How y'all doing today? I am the detail guy. How are y'all today?
And I am the video guy. And today we have a special guest with us. We're going to be talking about product-based business. Tell the people who you are, what your company is.
So hi everybody, my name is Amanda Rostic. I'm being featured today on the product-based business episode because I have a product which is Hops Tea. So think about any type of tea you would drink, whether it's hot or cold. And what makes us stand apart is we put hops in it, like hops that come from beer, but our beverage is non-alcoholic and it's not bitter.
Nice.
So the Hops Tea that you sell, like, how do you package? How does it come packaged? Like, is it a brew, something you brew? Is it something that you just buy from the refrigerator from the store? Like, what does that look like?
No, those are all good questions, especially when we think about the fact that tea can be cold and ready to serve. It can be room temperature, or it could be something you make at home hot, or even cold. Now these days you can do like the travel cold. So originally when I had the vision, I was thinking I was gonna be like,
can I stop that real quick? Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go too deep into it. I just wanted to get the people. I want to get the people an idea. Yeah.
Before we hop into that, I just wanted to wonder: is this your company?
yes.
That you created? So you
Yes.
created and developed
Yes.
a Hops Tea.
Yeah, like I'm not the first person on the whole earth to ever
No,
put hops
but
in
you
tea.
went from start to bottom with
Yeah.
creating
Yes.
and producing and
Yes.
getting it on and on and on and on.
Yes.
So from the start.
Yeah, started from the bottom, now we're here.
That's
Started from the
amazing.
bottom, now we here.
In its own, how does that work?
Oh my God.
So let's give the people an idea first of what the product look like. What the product, so
what
they
is-
so they
what is it?
know, so the people
Yes.
know if I want to do or if I want to get into this, like they know exactly what that look like before we go into that.
Is it a can? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
So I was worried. Originally, I wanted people to like brew it at home, like take a minute, chill, like take everything, the tea and the hops would be in a bag for you to like do this at home. I don't know if it was my type A, my zodiac, what it was. I didn't trust people to make this at home by themselves.
Okay,
'cause
so
it's
like a
easy.
hot tea.
Yeah, it's easy to make. It's easy to mess up hot tea.
Okay.
If you steep it too long, it's not gonna taste right. So steep it. You soaked it in the water too long, it's not gonna taste right. I was worried about people thinking my product was gonna be bad if they made it wrong. So I was like, I gotta give it to the people already made.
Okay.
So I do the brewing behind the scenes, like the hot water, the tea, the hops, combining it all. So what you would buy as a product in the store. Now I was thinking about going the can route, but aluminum's real expensive since COVID. And with cans, because my target market is women, which I'm sure we'll get into later, my business mentor had some worries about cans not being resealable. You know, you don't want someone to slip something in a lady's drink if she's out somewhere. So picture 16-ounce bottle that's resealable. So like a green leaf, plastic bottle.
Okay.
BPA free and recyclable and, as eco-friendly as we can make it.
Okay,
but
yeah.
It's ready to
Let 'em
drink.
know.
You open it and
Okay.
it's fire.
Nice.
All right, so
That's
now
dope.
let's go
That's
into it.
dope. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You created a whole drink.
So
Yeah,
we
let's
gonna
go
walk through that whole
Yeah,
process.
that's a process.
Let's start from the beginning though. What does that look like at the beginning of that process? Like, putting that together, what does that take?
Where did it come from? What in your idea first? My bad.
No, you good, bro.
No.
Where did that
these are-
idea come from?
So if I've always liked tea, and like if I'm having a good day, bad day, I drink coffee, but I'll have these runs where like I won't mess with coffee at all, and it'll just be straight tea. And then when you think about like antioxidants and like the medicinal properties of just tea in of itself, tea is good for your skin, tea is good for your mental, tea is good for your body. I'm like, everybody should be drinking tea. So then it was like, they should. So how we gonna get it to them, sis? That's where the idea came from. I'm like, well, maybe I'll get in. Maybe I'll
See
get in
a
the tea
need,
game.
feel a need.
What about the hops though? What made you do the hops with it?
Feel a need.
Oh my gosh. So hops have a couple iterations. So my brother, Terry Rostic Jr., he is one of the co-founders and owners of Black Calder Brewing. So like I always have hops in my face talking about beer. My brother, that's where I learned even like about what hops are. He'd have a bag of them and I see them like, oh, it's a cute little plant, smells just like beer. They grow, I live in Alger, they grow right in Alger on my neighbor's fence. So like I had all these little touch points with hops. And then I'm like, okay, well let me look into hops. So my background, I'm a scientist. So I'm always looking into something. So I Googled just hops. Well, it turns out hops are kind of a dope plant on their own outside of beer. And like the Egyptians knew that even back in the day. They would take hops and steep them in hot water and just like, they'd be chill, they'd be mellow. And I'm like, wait, hops can like calm anxiety, like they can reduce stress, they can have like anti-inflammatory properties. Like this is what research is showing. So I'm like, yo, put it in tea. We got the hot water, flavor.
I never tasted that, and I'm a tea drinker.
Oh, I
gotta
got you,
try
Terry.
that.
So Terry,
I don't drink coffee either.
When you asked me about hops, I was like, I will say with beer, they can help stabilize beer, and if you boil them at different temperatures, they're bitter. But at my temperatures, like I'm boiling them at a cooler temperature, so I can get the fruity flavors out, not the bitter flavors.
See, that's what I don't like.
So it's a couple
taste of
different
beer
things,
either.
yeah.
That's
I'm a beer drinker.
We know he a beer drinker, and
Yeah.
I'm not, just because of the hops.
Yep, so hops can be made to not taste bitter beer. And, if you like a strong IPA, you like something with that bitter, totally different energy, because there are drinks that do that for you too without alcohol.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
I like it. I didn't know it was that much in the hops.
Yeah, so
you think they don't point it out? Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
You don't hear about hops like that at all, like really.
They're a special little plant. I think as people get more into like health kicks, you'll start to see more hops teas, hops water. Because if you have a product that's liquid, if that liquid's getting heated up at any point, you can like calculate how to put hops in your process.
Okay.
So you can really put hops in anything. They just happen to really help beer out a lot because of the stability.
Yeah.
And flavor, right? You don't drink beer. If I do drink a beer, I want it to taste like raspberries and fruit.
Like those kind of fruity flavors. Yeah. Yep. Chris had one. It was good. Did you taste it? The reunion?
No.
It had a little fruity tint.
That was with his
yeah.
partnership with Founders?
Yep.
Okay.
It was straight.
Nice.
It was nice.
Nice. So how does that process start?
Yes. So when you have an idea, you gotta have a lot of heart, right? I don't have to tell you guys that to stick with it. So I really like tea. I wanted everybody to have it, but I still didn't know what that looked like.
Yeah.
So before, like we're talking way before the Spring GR days, I'm like, well, I think tea's for everybody. Everybody should have tea. How would I get it out? That's how I started with like, tea is really just a mix of herbs and spices. Figured out like, okay, how can you source these? There are places where you can get all your teas blended. So there's already flavors put together. Or you can literally like go online to Frontier. Like it's like an Amazon of seasonings almost.
Okay.
And you can build your own tea from scratch.
And then they'll ship it to you like.
Yep. They'll ship it to you, and then you combine it all. That's cool to do. That's a lot of work. What I found myself doing that was a little bit easier for me was sourcing tea blends that I like. So I would work with like the spice merchants. There's a Global Infusion tea.
How do you find these these people though? Because that sound good, but then how do you?
Sound good,
that's a whole next. That's next level. Like finding these merchants and people that you can source these ingredients from just to start up to basically experiment, right?
Yes, right, because you got to experiment, and that's what I love. It's like a big science project. I would say this, I've been feeling this way since high school. I Google everything. Okay. If you can put it in Google, you can do it. I don't care if it's how to win a Nobel. Yeah. So I would look up things like as straightforward as possible. How to start a tea company, how to make my own tea blends, where to find tea local, like keeping the idea that I had always at the center, and that's really started. Like how to find tea local. Like 7 places come up, tea near me. Then the most popular places come up. Then you pick like your top 3 or 4 there, and then like really drill in. I done made friends with the owners of these places.
Nice.
Once you can find a place, but no, it's really as wild west as it sounds. Like if you think about back in the 80s, like a stockbroker, like cold calling people, I was doing that with like farms.
Yeah.
Even though my brother had a plug, like my brother had his own thing, so I'm like, who's growing hops?
You literally just Googled everything.
And then you going and boots on the ground, going to these places, seeing what.
Calling them, emailing them. You can't be afraid that someone's gonna steal your idea.
Yeah.
Cause once they figure out how much work it is, it ain't gonna be for them.
Ain't for them.
Nah. Cause everyone's like, aren't you nervous to tell people? Cause the first hops farm I called, they're like, we never heard of anybody doing that. And I'm like, But even that, I'm like, all right, well, if someone else start doing it, best of luck to them.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And that's what people look a lot too, though. Like, I don't want to tell people, I don't want to do this because somebody gonna take my idea. Guess what? Somebody probably already did the idea anyway.
Yes.
Like, it's just up to you to put the grind to it and make it better or make it the best you can.
And I was told if you got a good idea, somebody's supposed to take it.
Exactly.
And it's a lane for you, right? Like, even if Susie May or Jimmy John next door start doing hops tea, they not a black woman from West Michigan with 4 kids doing it. You know, like that's where you make it your own through you.
Yeah,
they ain't gonna do it the way you do it. Cause there's a company, Hopslark. They kind of do their own thing. Their tea is actually more bitter. It reminds you more of beer. Cause that's what's cool about hops too. There's kind of this like there's this push for non-alcoholic, for beverages, like people who want to drink and have a good time, but they don't want to drink alcohol. So I'm like, oh, that's a lane for hops tea to play in. So I'm not the first person to think that. Like, anybody smart trying to get in the beverage business who wants to target a non-drinker is gonna think that.
Right.
So yeah,
that's awesome.
But yes, Google.
You
got a good idea? Google it. Find your competition.
Start today.
I think one of the important things that you said along with that though was you not only Googled it, but you got on the ground, you start going to places and building relationships with people.
You did work.
The work, you put the work behind it.
I didn't even have a name. I think the first people I called, I'm like, hey, I'm a lady and this is what I'm trying to do. And like people will rally. Like those farmers were excited. They're emailing me, calling me. Then I found out they got a such thing as tea maker hops. So there's actually a special variety, like a special species of tea that can be grown just for tea.
See?
Who would know that?
Wow.
A farmer would, apparently.
Yeah, and people help people.
Yep.
Reach out.
You just got to get out there.
Reach out. We were saying that in one episode that you just got to reach out, and people willing to reach out. Most people are just scared to just reach out.
Yeah.
Scared of no. And most people ain't trying to say no. When it comes to that.
No.
When it comes to help you. Most people want to help.
They want to see you win.
Most people want to see you win.
Remember, you're not their competition. If anything, they're like, oh, sis get on. She using our hops. People are going to know about us. Like,
the thing be, a lot of times people come from a place where a lot of people don't want to see you win. So then you got to stop. You can't look at it like I don't want to just rock with nobody because I don't trust. No, you messing with the wrong circles.
Yeah, that community.
You messing with the wrong circles. You know what I mean?
Your circles should support you. When I tell you, I had women who didn't even used to drink tea helping me learn and look up stuff, brew for, oh my God, for demo day. We'll maybe get to that later. We were in the kitchen like, I mean, it was crazy. Women that I met, that I have become friends with, some I've known for years, some just for months. You know, I got kitchen space, I got them approved, and we all just had this mission. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of samples had to be brewed, and I couldn't do it by myself.
That's dope.
So yeah,
so it was your circle that rallied with you.
They rally. They always some riders. So you gotta have those people in your circle. Like if someone's like, I don't know how you gonna do all that. You ain't got to cut them off, but don't tell them nothing else. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Yep.
Just leave it at that.
Nah.
Your real friend's going to ride with you. Your real friend's going to be like, I don't know nothing about this product, but I'm going to help you.
Somebody says something like, some people will love you, but they don't really like you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm going to share this. I really wasn't going to share this, but so over the last weekend, we caught a fire at my house.
Yeah.
Right? So really, all we really had to depend on was our circle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, our circle is dope, but I understand a lot of people don't got a circle.
Yeah.
So then you got to build a circle. You got to get out that mindset. You got to get out the mindset to where it's just like everybody's against you or nobody's for you, like or everybody gonna betray you at some point. You know what I mean? It's people out there. If you put yourself out there genuinely, you will find that circle. You will find that circle.
You have that circle. You just weed them out yourself for the most part.
Exactly. Yep. A lot of times you got a circle, but it's the wrong circle.
You don't want to hear what they had to say, and it hits you in a different spot, and you got offended.
Yep.
You know, and that was the one that you needed next to you.
Because you need that thick skin, right? I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, like I said, you guys can relate. You don't want a bunch of yes men around you neither. Like, you don't want to be like, that's a great idea. Yeah, do that, that. Like, no, be objective. If that's ridiculous,
tell them that's ridiculous.
Check me. It might hurt a little in the moment, but like, my mama is my like reality check. If it don't pass the mom check, it's like, moms ain't out here trying to hurt feelings. So if she's saying
you already know,
let me look into, unless your mama is just hurting feelings, then don't let that be your
keep that out your circle, because that's out there.
Right, everybody's mama ain't nice, but like, I know I'll have things, I'll just like sneak or slide it past my mom or be like, Mom, if it wasn't from your daughter, and like, she'll be real. So yeah, you need a mix.
That's dope.
You need writers and you need people who will check you too.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't want to hear that when somebody tell them like, bro, you ain't, you know what I mean?
Yep.
If your boy check you and you get mad at it, like, bro, like, what's he there for?
Well,
like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What do you want? You want people to just agree with what
keep
you do
down,
and roll with you. You know what I mean? Is that what we calling to be a friend or
I
down?
love my circle.
Like, no.
I ain't gonna lie.
You
My circle dope. Yeah. But back to where we were going. I asked you about the process of how that look. How do you get that bottled?
Okay, so
you got your
Before you bottle it though, you gotta come up with the blend.
yeah. So you blend.
you're right.
your
So how do you
blends. Got all that
how's
in.
that process look?
You emailed and got all your stuff in.
So we did our research, our homework, we found some places. Now we just got a bunch of ingredients. Really get in the kitchen. So anything you're gonna feed somebody, whether it's a cake, whether it's real like food, whether it's something savory, or whether it's a drink, it's gotta taste good, right? People are gonna spend their money on it and they're gonna eat it. So you get the double whammy. You take your ingredients and you keep mixing different ratios until it tastes good. So you can look up recipes, like let's say you wanna make a lavender lemonade. Lemonade is bomb. Lavender has kind of got these chill components. You find you some hops that'll taste good with lavender. What sweetener do you want to use? I'm big, I don't use processed sugar, so I don't use white sugar. I don't want to give people stuff I wouldn't want to eat. There's nothing wrong with that, I'm not knocking that. So like I like agave, I like stuff that's very natural. I like honey, but honey has its own flavor profile. Agave has its own flavor profile. So you really kind of got to see what tastes good together. Some teas don't taste good with honey. Shocking as that may sound.
And all my teas I drink with honey.
But sometimes honey can overpower how the tea is actually supposed to taste. Rare, but it happens. I will say honey's my go-to. So once you have all the ingredients, start mixing and see what tastes good to you. Start writing down what ratios you're using and then expand from there. Because you got to start from somewhere.
Right.
You don't want 50 people tasting it because you're going to have 160 opinions.
Right.
Start with yourself. You should have pretty good taste, you think, and then kind of branch out from there. So that's what I would do. I'm like, oh man, am I tripping? Does this taste good? I'll check with my kids. I'll check with my neighbors,
You gotta check with the kids first. You gotta check with the kids.
Kids will tell you if something is nasty.
I love that one. You gotta check with the kids.
The kid check. That's as good as the mama check, because your kids ain't gonna hold you. Faces toe up, mama, this nasty.
Yeah.
All right, well, we
We don't want no more of that.
Okay, that's not the right ratio.
So keep going till you get something that like. You can pass it by a kid, you can pass it by an old person, that's another thing. You want to kind of hit the group, the different ranges. Once you have something that you've kind of written out, you like how it tastes, you got several taste testers, how consistent can you be? Does this taste the same every time I make it?
You make it.
Does this taste the same 5 days later? This is where it gets tough with like food and beverages. Even though someone's gonna drink it in that moment, what if it takes someone 2 days to drink it because they put a cap on it? If it's lavender lemonade Monday and now it tastes like grape Kool-Aid Thursday, I've done something wrong on my end. And that's not an experience I want to create. So then when you do have a recipe, you gotta test it. Day 1, great. Room temp, great. Cold, is it good? I let it sit in the fridge for a week. Has the tea settled? Does it look bad? Like, These are all things that are really, really important. This can all be done in like your home kitchen, all right?
Right.
Y'all don't need to be out spending money yet. Like, you won't hit the commercial kitchen stuff until like have a name. You'll need insurance. Like, and these are things we can talk about too. But a lot of this stuff, start at home, get a good baseline. When it comes to bottling, there's different ways you can do it. As long as you have your licensure and you're approved in like a kitchen to make things, you can do some of your own bottling.
So you can buy like bulk at Amazon or something.
Like
and
Uline,
then,
Amazon, stuff that's got like the safety seals on it. That whatever bottles you purchase, that's where you're gonna want to get your testing done. So like, I found some really dope bottles off of Uline. They got a cool shape, kind of like the Malamaya juice bottles. Not a square, not fully round, kind of like that squoval shape. They're sealed, but when I needed to get it tested for licensure, like to see if bacteria is growing.
That's what I was gonna get at. Like, how does that work? Because if you somebody just bottling something at home.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. Like, no, they'll shut you down.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like it's a couple of products going around the city like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, you know, that's a hustle. Some of them is a hustle.
Right, people like, oh, I made this at Ray Ray House. Don't tell nobody
got in
that.
a couple of the hood stores.
They are third-party labs.
Okay.
They'll do your testing. So you pay, and similar to what you would do on your own, you bring in products that you brewed at a kitchen. Now that you're gonna do it from a kitchen, don't do that from your house. Whatever kitchen space you're using, you'll put them in the bottles that you're using, and you'll give them anywhere. They usually like 6 or more samples of your tea, and they'll do the same thing. They'll test it day 1 when they get it. They'll test it a week later. That's for shelf life. So they want to see how long this can last before it expires. Tea in and of itself, many, 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 many years. Tea can last, but like, you're not gonna go to the store and see an expiration date of like 10 years on the bottle. Even if it lasts that long, it's not gonna do that.
Right.
But a third-party lab is how you get that safety check.
Okay, now, where do you find those third-party labs here in Michigan?
Yes. Then
I feel like that's what I feel like we're going to.
Google.
So I'm like, how do I make sure my beverage is safe? Testing tea. Summit is who I decided to work with. Summit is a local lab. But there's another, I think there's 2 more. And what you can do when you're on Google looking up lab testing, it'll show you pricing. Get those numbers, get those emails, let them know like, hey, this is the product I have. You know, this is what I want to do. You can test for. I want a product that's safe to be on the shelf for 30 days. I think 30 is a nice standard that gives you a month to move. Okay. You could do 60 day, which is really nice. You can do 90 day. You can try to get up to 6 months, a year. That's all good too. But a lot of times when you get approved through the state and you do your shelf life testing, your product will get a stamp of like 7 days. That's a lot of pressure. Unless you're just going to a farmer's market, you know, Meyer's not going to want some tea that's only good for 7 days.
Why is
that? Check that. Here's the problem. So if I give you a product that expires in 7 days, that means they now, if they're the third party I'm working with, so let's say Bridge Street Meyer's like, this is dope, we want to sell this. If they see that this is only good for 7 days, they don't. What would that benefit for? That means it would need to sell out in 7 days, or on day 8, gotta throw it all away.
So what is that? I mean, like, why would they put that in that category though of expiration days?
Because when you start out, you gotta start somewhere, right? They need to prove that it's safe longer than 7 days, but they can quickly prove that it's safe for a week. So something that could be good about that, for instance, is I want to do a farmer's market. All right, well, I know my product's good for 7 days. The farmer's market, we're gonna be popped up for 3 days. We can move this and tell people like, hey, you know, pay attention, expiration date. The thing that kind of stinks though about tea is it ain't gonna go bad on day 8.
Yeah.
It's not milk, it's not dairy, but legally, if I have a 7-day product and I got stock that I don't move in 7 days, I gotta trash it on day 8. Like, I can't sell it.
Okay, so that's kind of what you're saying when you were talking about keeping that inventory when you...
Yeah, so for inventory, when you are paying to get shelf life, you want a shelf life that's more than a week. Or else you saying, yo, my product's so good, I can move it in less than 7 days, which, even if that's the case, you know, think about the things we buy. You buy fruit. Will you hate if you paid $5 for some strawberries and 2 days later they rotten?
Yeah.
You want to get the longest shelf life for your customers. I want someone to be able to buy a case of this and be like, oh, it's good for 30 days. They're going to drink it in faster than 30 days.
Right.
But at least they don't have to feel like, oh, man, better hurry up and drink that tea I bought before it expires. Like, it's not.
How do you get past that then? Like those short expiration dates, especially if you have something that you know is capable of being a way longer shelf life than 7 days?
I would say the way you get around that is use your 7 day that you can get approved for quick things. Hey, I'm hosting this wedding. Boom. You know that's not a 7 day thing. Hey, I'm doing this pop-up. Boom. Hey, I'm meeting with the cafe. They're going to carry my product. I'm promoting that as a 1 or 2 day thing. And in that meantime, be getting your product tested for 30 days. That way you can be drawing attention and making some money with your short expiration date product without just wasting inventory and it burning up. So like batching up tea, I wouldn't batch 500 samples that are only gonna last 700 days.
Right.
Unless somebody invited me to a block party where they knew 2,500 people were coming and I was confident I could sell those bottles. Do keep your batches small when your expiration date isn't long, or else you're wasting money, right? Because you got to make that money, and right now you're paying up front for your ingredients. If you don't move it and it expires, you're losing money. So the short term will help you do quick things to get your name out there. For I would say use your 7 day for marketing. Because there's no store, unless somebody just really rocks with you, that's going to want your product that's going to expire in a week.
Nice.
So if I'm following you correctly, so what you're saying is when you first go for that approval, they usually give you that 7 day approval just like that usually.
Yeah, you can get a 7 day like, hey, we reviewed this after a week. We know it's still safe. You are able to legally start moving this, but you have to put on the bottle, this is only good for 7 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically you're saying between that 7 day and when they get to whatever day 30, does it usually take longer to get a 30-day shelf life approval than 30 days, or is it usually kind of coming back like
It depends on how the
30
lab
days?
does it. Because they really do want to let it sit in that container for 30 days to see. Heaven forbid they only do it for 29 and then day 30 something really does grow. Now you didn't poison a bunch of people. But there's something they can do for like, to speed it up for like the year, where they'll do samples. They can, so even if you work with a co-packer, for instance, so like a company whose job it is to help you come up with formulas for your, like if you want a year shelf life, they don't test it for a year.
Yeah.
They'll expose it to like this much UV, this many elements to calculate, like a simulate a year.
Yeah.
But the 30 day they usually do for real.
okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because 30 days is not like,
Yeah, so you're usually getting it back though around that 30. It ain't like you waited 30 days, then now you waiting
Yes.
all this other time to get your results and be able to put a different shelf life on your product.
correct. You can
Okay.
kind of be doing it stepwise. So for instance, another smart thing you can do, have them do, so send enough samples that you can get it tested for like the farthest out you want. So in an ideal world, I think a year sounds great. But if I can get testing for up to 6 months, 180 days, that's exceptional. If I can't move it in 6 months, I'm doing something wrong. But that doesn't mean I need to wait 6 months to start selling. I got approved for 30 days. I'm moving that product with the 30 day. They're testing for 60, 90, 180 for me. That's still going on, but with 30, I got a month to move stuff. Because you want to think, well, I mean, everybody's not the same, but I want to think big. How fast and how long would it take me to move a whole pallet of this?
Yeah.
Couldn't do that in 7 days. Could I do it in 30? With the right hustle, with the right vendors, if I got people selling this for me, if I'm selling online, yeah, I could. So if 30 feels kind of safe.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
I'm with you.
That makes sense. Think big,
Okay.
go hard.
There you go. And anything
hard or
longer
go
is
home.
a bonus.
Yeah. Now, what is the name of your brand again?
Kettle and Hops.
Kettle and Hops.
Let me tell you, names. Do your homework. Y'all know
Do
where I'm
your
gonna send
research.
you. Google is where I'm gonna send you. But you really want to make sure you're checking your state database for names, and you want to check national depending on how you're thinking. If you homegrown, you don't want to leave Grand Rapids, you want to be just little mom and pop, then just check the state of Michigan. But if you ever think, I might want to be regional, I might want this in California, check the nation for names. Because you might mess around and have something you love, that's your name, that's your baby.
Exactly.
And the lawyer that I met with free. I don't want y'all to think I'm rolling in money. Free lawyer services that I met with through Spring GR. If you and a company have the same name, y'all might have not knew each other. Let's say someone in Louisiana has the same name as you in Michigan. If y'all not crossing state borders, it is what it is. Someone puts it in, Louisiana and Michigan are far enough apart that it's like, oh no, I didn't want that one. If you and someone in Illinois has the same name, that's a lot closer to home for us. You know, you got to think about that. You want to start selling in Illinois, now y'all got the same name. It's the person who had the first legal sale in the name. So they're not saying that they would, because it could be very expensive, but you could get sued.
Yeah.
So you got to check
dirty.
these databases.
It gets real dirty.
Yeah.
A lot of times we start off businesses as hustles. You might not know, like, I'm going to want to build this as a big business one day. Still, check your names, because you may want to build that as a big business one day. You may want to scale one day. It might start off as a hobby or as something small that you don't want to expand big. But what happens to the day that you do? Now you've built a brand off of name that you may have to change. But everybody, your branding is recognition.
And nobody cares until you get big.
Correct.
So the name would be cool until you start making enough money to somebody want to care. So make sure your name is correct.
Exactly. So when they see you making money, and that's like, oh, they looking like they look a little bit too much like us.
So you know what's funny? Like, never think you above it. It happened to Steve Jobs.
It happens to a lot of
Macintosh
people.
was a thing. That's why it's spelled different. So it's MAC. Because the other guy spelled it like the actual Apple, MCI. So if it can happen to Steve Jobs, it can happen to you.
It can happen to anybody.
And I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember what my first name was? We were not always.
I can't remember, but I remember I remember what it was.
What was
and they was the Urban Brew Lab, and they've been trying to get you to change that name.
What was it?
For a minute.
The Urban Brew Lab. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was a scientist. It had urban in it. I had my little molecules. Nobody could tell me nothing about that name.
No, you was pretty dead set on keeping
Someone
that
in
name.
Illinois.
The
Urban Brew Lab is a brewery that sells beer. We both had the same name. I did not have to change it. But what I was looking at when I looked them up, so then I did my research on them. They had been established, I think, in like 2017, and they had been making sales. So if they wanted to make it a problem for me, because in my head I'm like, okay, I'll be regional. They could make it a problem for me because their name, they filed it first. So I ended up changing my name early on.
You couldn't even change the letters in it.
That's one thing you can do. Change the spellings or do some
few letters, urban, use an I or something.
Yeah. I let it go.
You let it go. I feel you. You're bigger and better. I like this one. Kettle.
I think it fit better. It sound good.
The right thing to find you, right?
I like it.
Completely made up. We looked everywhere for this. Now if somebody got it, now I'm going to sue them.
Yeah.
Because now I had it first.
Now, are you in stores at the moment?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I have commercial kitchen space in the downtown market. So when you guys were talking about circles,
in a wealthy market. In the downtown wealthy market, right there on...
The one on Ionia, 435 Ionia.
Nice.
Yeah, where you got to pay to park, but we won't get into that. When you think about building your circle, you got to think about people who are professionals, right? So like... MSU, they have a kitchen, they have students, they have professors that like really love food and really love food science, and they will help you for free. Reached out to them. So I got a woman, Kendra, she's like my shiro. She helps me with a lot of things that way. Ryan, he's a head chef at the downtown market. Chris Mathis. Find yourself mentors or people in your industry that can help you, that are willing to help you, and especially for free, right? I don't have to pay for these services. I'm not saying go out and find like some consultants, your startup, your small business.
Right.
I would never tell you to do that. There's a lot more resources for you than you think. So like the small business like development center, you could put that right in Google and just find
we talked about that on the last show.
A list of everything people can do.
So that's my other squad. Like, the way I learned how to get a kitchen space and that I need a kitchen space.
Yeah, so what you're telling me is you had a circle that helped you build where you wanted to go.
Absolutely.
Your circle was key.
Yes. I don't know how you...
We say that all the time. Your circle is key.
How do you do it by yourself? I know you think you can, but
you can't.
It's tiring. Like, I'm not a food scientist.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what's up. I like that.
So you done went, you done did your name.
Yep.
You done did your experiments.
Yep.
You found your ingredients and the ratios and what you wanted to taste like. You found your packaging. Now
She's in
going
somewhere.
to get the customers.
Ooh.
How has
First,
that
did you
journey-
get customers before you got into where you are? Or how did that work?
Yeah, building hype. So it's when you have like a service base, or if you're a
Hype.
person and
I
you're
like
coming,
that word.
you gotta get
Building
people excited.
hype.
You gotta build the hype.
I like
It's
that.
one thing if you're jumping into somebody's house like, yo, I got a cleaning service, I'm gonna come and clean. Okay, bet you could go do that. The problem when you got a product is you gotta tell people about it so they want it.
I gotta be excited.
But you gotta check off all the boxes before you get it to them. So that was the problem I was having in class. It's like, okay, I'll tell people about it. So do things like Start Garden 100. You gotta pitch that idea and try to get on.
What is that? Let's talk about it.
I
So
was
we
about to
can
say, I don't know.
Gosh.
It's 100. It sounds
So
like.
it's a pitch competition.
Yes.
Oh,
So I
okay.
promised I was not put up to this. Although if they want to break a
Oh
little
no,
bread,
like no, we
have
here.
it.
We here to give y'all game. This is game. Like a lot of the game we
Is this
have
part of the
is
spring GR we talked about?
No, this is
no,
separate.
it's a different. I gave people Start Garden though when I gave them the
Everything,
the last
yeah.
episode when I gave them the different
List.
things that they can go in order to start to build their circle
Yeah.
and get their business out there. So Start Garden is. I will let you explain more into it. I think you did more of the competitions than me,
Yes,
but
do.
it's basically a pitch competition,
Yes.
and the big one is coming up too.
Yes.
So every month you can win. It's a pitch competition to win $5,000, but then they got a big one. So I'm gonna let you run into
Yeah.
it.
No, but
since
that
you
was
been in.
good. You broke that down nice. So yes.
I mean to. I wanted to let you
No,
explain.
that was like the alley oop, the assist for that. So with Start Garden, what they do is something really dope. So basically, think of. Are you guys familiar with like venture capitalists? People with money that want to
Yep.
pour into other people that are like doing business.
Yep.
What I love about Start Garden is you have women and you have diverse, so black and brown people who want to help black and brown people. They help everybody, but like, if I went somewhere to a Varnum, they might look at me with the braids
Right.
and be like,
Right.
we ain't messing with sis. But this is a place where like I can come
Where
and be my
sis can
authentic
go.
self, and it's
Yeah.
like, sis, we love you here. So Start Garden, every month or every other month, they'll have a competition that's a 5x5. So you have 5 minutes, you get 5 slides, like a PowerPoint deck, and you'll present for 5 judges. There'll be an open audience so regular people like us can go, and you'll pitch your idea. So you'll get up there, this is my name, this is my idea, this is how I'm gonna execute this business plan, this is how I'm gonna spend this $5,000. And you can win $5,000 on the spot to help you with anything you need help with. So you a dog walking service, hey, I need this for leashes, I need this for trainers, whatever it's for, you tell them. And that's how you can win $5,000. Just like that, you win it that night, cut you a check.
Nice.
Using your words.
How do you get involved in that? Is it like a...
You apply. It's online.
Okay.
So you would go to startgarden.com, but
That's nice.
Or if you look up Start Garden 5x5,
so like
Yeah,
5x5,
Okay.
put that in, and you would just literally put your name in there, and you can have your friends vote for you
That's
it's
awesome.
you competing against other people. So they'll pick like the top 5 people. So it is competitive, and it's all different businesses. So it could be service based or product based, and you're up against. So like when I did 5x5, there's this guy with this really cool idea of like there was a furniture guy. There was someone that was like making instruments and doing stuff with kids. There was me. There was like a vending food truck guy. So big competition. You pitch your heart out and you can win $5,000. But they do a bigger one where you can win $10,000.
Nice.
And that's the 100. And I believe it's called the 100 because you get
I
like,
thought you get 20,000.
oh, it is 20. You're
It's
right.
20.
It's $20,000 for
20
Start Garden
bands.
100. So we're talking.
And that's
big
coming
money.
up too.
Is it?
That's coming up.
It is coming up. I seen something about it for LinkedIn, so you'll be able to. It's an open window, so they'll say, "Hey, you can apply to do
That's
this
dope.
from here to here," and you have 100 seconds to pitch your idea. You can record it online,
I love that.
or you could do it in
Y'all
person
better
with
get
any
on.
pop-ups.
That was
Yes,
a whole
sir.
different...
20 racks.
Yeah.
Get cut a check.
Or 5.
Pitching.
Or 5.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Look into pitching your business. And I think one of the good things about it too is the fact that it gives you practice and
Yes.
experience
Yes.
talking about your business
To people.
especially in an uncomfortable position. So when you get in front of somebody in a comfortable position, you can give that your business to them in a way where it sounds effortless.
Yeah.
Yep.
To where it sounds like every intricate part of it, and that will go a long way. Especially if you're talking, you basically a lot of times when you go for loans for banks, you basically having to pitch your business.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if that's the case, if you're scared, what I like what you said is anybody can go.
Yes.
So if you don't even know what you want to do, just go watch.
Yep.
Go watch and
Go watch the pitch competition.
watch it. You know what I mean? Watch a couple of people, see how they did and what they doing and how they talking, and
Yes.
learn from the other people.
Get you that game for free.
If you can go watch it for free,
Absolutely,
go watch
yeah.
it for free.
I think we need to dive
and
into
see,
that pitching.
You know what I mean? Just go see how it works. Watch a couple of them, see how it works.
You don't
We're
have
gonna
to
do a whole
pay a
episode
dime,
on that.
and you can just show up.
You don't
The
gotta pay
other
a
thing,
dime.
exposure. Thousands of people will come that night when let's say you make the top 100. So you make the top 100. So they'll take the top 100 ideas out the state, out of everyone that pitches. Then you get to bring your idea to life, like with a booth. So however that looks for you. So I'm product-based business. I'm brewing up tea. I had me an ice sculpture, and it was like a chest, and my tea was in there. Everybody loved that. It had the Kettle Hops. I had to get you some pictures.
So yeah, when you part of that 100, they give you money to put your display together.
$1,000.
So what you just said was, how many people it gets you out there. So even if you don't win the $20,000,
Correct.
you still got put out there. So somebody
vendors,
else might love it.
General public.
Who was it? Was it Fantasia and that one?
It's probably like
that
a,
one episode when Fantasia and what's the name won, and who was it on American Idol? One of them won, and then she didn't even get no exposure, but the second person became a star.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Was it?
right.
It was
Yep.
Fantasia.
Fantasia.
She
I
became a
think that
star.
was.
She came in
Yes.
second.
Jennifer Hudson didn't win American Idol.
Yeah.
Look at her career.
So even if you don't
I feel
win
like
that 20 grand,
because what if she did win?
Somebody won.
Fantasia.
No,
somebody
I don't
won.
think Fantasia did win, and she still had a really good career.
and she had a great career.
She had a great career.
Yeah.
But
I just
even
wanna
if you
make sure
don't
we ain't put
win,
no false information out there.
Google it.
Fantasia
We
did
love
win.
you.
What are you
Google.
talking
Google
about?
it. But no, even if you don't win, you get that exposure.
100%.
Somebody might love it.
And
That
connections.
person don't love it. The judge might not love it, but somebody
Exactly.
do.
You'll meet other
I love that.
entrepreneurs. You might mess
I
around
love
and
that.
find you someone that. I have met people in the 100 that I'm still friends with to this day. Like, we'll text each other, we'll check in, like, we keep tabs on each other. It'll be worth it whether you win or not.
Nice.
It's bananas.
It's a blessing.
You got to do it at least
that's,
once.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's
Yeah,
up.
I think we'll have to do a whole episode on
I forgot the
pitching.
question where I was at though. What we had asked though. I forgot you was going.
Because we
through
was
all-
going into financing.
Yeah.
Nope, customers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
I'm
kinda-
gonna say
that took us
financing
in, that took us
wasn't-
into the financing.
Yes, because that's where people can, when you have a food or something to show, even if you have like an app,
Okay.
you get real time feedback from real people in the streets who you may have never met. So I learned a lot as far as teenage boys really liked my product, and I was just blown away by that. That was not. I never thought about them. I'm thinking of like women, busy women on the go was my thought.
How did you test that?
Hold on. Was you selling it or was somebody else selling it to the teenage boys?
That's where your team comes in, because I'm only one person. I had myself. I had one of my sisters, Gina Charles. She was helping me. My girl Haley, she helped with setup support. I had a whole team.
Okay.
I had a whole squad. So it was me and like 4 or 5 other women, and there was like some behind, people making sure samples were out, people getting out, people walking around, and then like people that wanted to talk to me. So anytime like if a judge came by, because you're judged, I would talk to the judge. If a vendor came by, so like Myers there, different banks are there,
Nice, that's
I would talk to
awesome.
those people. And
It's like a
interact with
sports
the general
game.
public.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where the scouts
I
come
want- I
to.
wanna
It's
just-
like a sports
Yes.
game where the scouts come
I
to.
wanna go to it. I just
got
wanna
a
check it
story
out.
in my biz.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you got your hype up. That's what it was. You got your
Yes.
hype going. Then what?
Now, so it's funny. I've kind of been rocking on this edge. Now I just have to finish my licensure through MDAR through the state to be approved. So you can have your lab testing. Yep, this lab proved that it's this safe. You know, we don't get bacteria growth, et cetera, et cetera. Someone's got to watch me make it in the kitchen to make sure my processes are safe. That was the same thing for Start Garden. So in that instance, Kent County Health Department came in. So a food sanitation person watched us do this, you know, to make sure we were using safe practices, water was hot enough, things were sanitized the right way, and then you're off and rolling. Then you just got to figure out who's going to carry this for you.
Nice.
So that's what I gotta figure out. Who's gonna carry
That's
this
dope.
for me.
That's the whole process you learn from Google.
Yeah, just Google. No one in my family did
it's
this.
deeper now though, because now AI is so crazy and sick with it. It's like it's
So,
like a personal
I hate when
teacher.
people tell me they can't do something.
Right. No, you can do a lot.
She just created a tea, bro. Not just like something like going to like mow lawns. This isn't going to mow lawns. Anybody can pick up a lawnmower.
And that's what I was gonna say,
She
because
created a whole tea.
that's why I'm glad we went into financing, because as a service-based business with certain products, you might not even have to do initial investment. You might just have to get out. If you a cleaning service business, when you
gotta get
start,
out.
all you got to do is go to the dollar store
See,
and get cleaning
that's what I mean.
products,
That's a whole
and then
different-
put your business on Facebook
Bro.
just to start off and say I'm doing this.
Yes.
Start off with a low, just so you can get the
Just so you
customers,
can get the customers.
and do a good job. But
This
it
is
don't
a whole different.
with products
lane.
like it's money that go into that.
Right. 'Cause
So
I have
besides
to give
Star
you
Garden,
something.
how else did you finance that?
Yeah, so
But did you win any of the competition at Star Garden first of all?
I won a 5x5. I won my first 5x5.
Nice.
The first and only one that I did, I won. I was in
That's what's up.
the first time I was in the Start Garden 100. Oh, check your reality, right? You gotta check yourself. I didn't know anything about business, and I can tell you 100% was not self-aware. I went into this thinking I was gonna like open a brick and mortar just to start. You know, that was how I did the Start Garden the first time. I'm like, y'all gonna give me $20,000. I'm gonna have a space and start selling tea. Okay, well now that I've grown up a little bit, when you think about rent and overhead and machinery, $20,000 is gonna get ate up, and they was right to not give me $20,000. It was gonna be wasted basically. So you gotta kind of level set what you can realistically do with $20,000 so that someone would give it to you. So if you tell your dad you want a Bugatti, and your dad said he'd give you $20,000 worth toward a car, you think he's gonna give you that towards a Bugatti?
Yeah.
You tell your dad you want something reasonable like $50,000 Toyota Camry for $50,000, something like that. He'll give you that 20. You gotta
Right.
come up with 30.
Right.
So go into Start Garden. If you need $100 million worth of infrastructure, don't enter a $20,000 pitch competition.
Makes sense.
If you really can do something with $20,000, so that was the energy. I went through Spring GR and I kind of learned, oh, okay, well, maybe I don't even want a brick and mortar, because then I got to sell this much tea to cover rent. Then I got to pay this much per person. Figure out where you can realistically start and then see if that $20,000 makes sense. So then when I switched to, whoa, it's 2023. Let me make sure people want to buy this enough before I'm looking for properties. Let me settle it online. You know, order it online. Now I don't have no overhead of that.
overhead.
Now it's just like, where am I storing this safely? How much does that cost? Oh, okay, bet. I gotta sell 50 cases to cover my rent here. Bet. Now when I go ask someone for $20,000 to get me this many units. I sell this many units, it's this much in profit. This much goes back to the business because I got XYZ expenses.
You have a business plan.
Yes.
You came
So-
with the business plan.
You can't just think
gotta have your business
because there's
plan.
money out
Yeah.
there, someone's gonna give you money. No. Show them how that
Create your
money is gonna be
plan.
broken down. What is your plan?
Yes, create your plan. Go with that plan.
Yes.
If you don't have a plan, ain't nobody giving you money.
No. And a reasonable plan.
A reasonable.
The money that you got from the pitch competition, was that like one of your main sources to help you do everything that you need to do as far as the expenses, experimenting,
Yes.
and all of those
Nice.
things?
Absolutely. It helped me get more inventory, to brew more samples. It helped me pay for my lab testing. It helped me pay for a new website where like someone could actually design it for me, versus there's a lot of good stuff you can do on your own. But just remember, as an entrepreneur, I think sometimes like scared money don't make money. So if you're trying to wear all the hats because you're trying to save a dime, you ain't no web
That's
developer.
where partnerships come in.
Right, like pay a web person. Like, yeah, I could probably spend 16 hours learning how to master Wix. What could I have been better doing in those 16 hours?
Yeah.
Exactly.
People want to see
Yeah.
my face. I need to be out there
Exactly.
recruiting the money.
Exactly.
I just pay fam who does this. It ain't gonna take him 16 hours.
I like that.
So, know your strengths.
Yeah.
Play to your strengths. And you
Create
should try
a
to
mastermind.
pay
Go
off
with
the
it.
weaknesses.
Yeah.
Exactly. Was that the E-Myth Revisited?
Yes.
Lean towards your strength. Because time is the most valuable thing you have.
Yes. Oh no, and
when you look at
that's what you work for. Time. Well, that's what I'm working.
You can actually be costing your business money,
you know,
by doing jobs that you're not suited for. Because then you look at it like, if I pay this person to do this job, this amount of money, they'll get it done quicker. But also, I'm taking longer to do it. So if I was paying myself, now I'm paying myself more because it's going to take me longer to do this job that I could have just paid somebody else to. And I'm not able to do these other things that could help the business go further. And that I'm better at.
And what the people don't know is people are trained for that.
Yes.
What is it? Carnegie to
you
create
know what that made me think of, bro?
You create a mastermind. You can do that. This person specifically went to school for this.
Yes.
This person specifically done this.
This made me think of a conversation we was having, bro. With the marketing conversation we was having. When I was telling you, like, bro, you just got to get in some rooms. When you was talking about, like, getting the money and funding, like, because we like a lot of the same stuff, but we're kind of like opposite personalities. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Like, we like a lot of the same things, but we opposite personalities. I'm more introverted. I can talk to people if I want to. Like, if I have that mission, you know what I mean? But, like, he naturally, like, goes into a room and people start talking to him. Like, I don't walk into a room and people start talking to me. Like, I have to be very purposeful and objective, but he just got this energy. So when you use that, because that's your strength, and
so that's what you don't want Terry in the back doing paperwork. You want Terry in the front with the people that's like, I'm cutting Terry to check because this dude is hilarious. It really can be like that in business.
That's how it works.
People invest in you because they think you're cool. I mean, you still gotta have your plan.
People make $1 million businesses, not a business.
There you go.
I got a book on that. It's in my bathroom, actually.
It's a valuable lesson in that, and I think people could really learn from that, because it's too much of a mentality of everybody wants to be this top person,
Everybody want to be in charge,
right? Like,
instead of humbling yourself.
Exactly.
Humble yourself.
I'll say example. So for us, for the podcast, right? I came up with the idea of the podcast. Let's do this podcast. Boom. We started it like a week later. I got skills. He got skills. They different skill sets. His skill sets is more geared towards the front. Just because I came up with the podcast and said, let's do a podcast, that doesn't mean anywhere we go, like, I'm going to be the person to try to be like, this is the Nah, I'm going to let him handle his thing. Because that's going to get it further. Especially if you trying to work with people, but you want to be, let people be in their lane and do what they do. Exactly.
Oh, I love
everybody everybody has a purpose. So when especially if you know your own personality, like, I know I can do it, but it's natural.
Because when you said that, let people shine, as much as I respect and admire and love web stuff, I know my personality. I am a classically trained scientist. I will stare at. Oh, that means, so when I went to undergrad, so I have an undergraduate degree, I have a Bachelor of Science in Biology, and a minor in Chemistry.
So you're a doctor almost.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that. Look at that. Humbly bragging. I got you.
I had to take every science under the sun, and they trained me at Grand Valley. Like, the only thing I was going to do was go out into the world and be like a bench scientist and, like, not blow anything up. So, like, it's very, very hard. So, like, training. So if you put me in front of a web page, I'm gonna treat it like science. I'm like, is that comma over? What is it's ridiculous. Like, let me just let somebody do that does that. You gotta let people,
exactly.
You know, that is not my strength, because I'm too analytical and I'm too detailed. I'll be too in the weeds. I gotta trust that the people that went to school for that or got the gift for that will do that, and then I can go be like the CEO and I can focus on operations. I'll give you my vision. You gotta trust. Gotta be trusting.
Yes.
Last thing I really gotta say, this leads me to this point, is the fact that if you have to be there in order for your business to operate, it's really not a business yet.
You're still a worker.
Yes.
It's not a business yet. Your business should be able to operate without you being there.
100% agree. Like, what are you should be, we talked about this, right? Setting up systems. I didn't have to hover over the square page. I had a whole guy for that. Something mess up, I'm not doing none of that. Hey, Justin Espinoza, can you boom, and it's done.
Nice.
You know, so that's where like collaboration, teams,
Nice.
it can be tough up front, but just be honest with people. There's a lot of free stuff you can get. You go through Spring GR, you go through the Small Business Development Center, you reach out to a Start Garden. People want to help entrepreneurs. Here's a little game that people don't know. There are full programs where students can get their college credits just by helping entrepreneurs for free.
Yep.
So, you know, take advantage
That's
of free
dope.
labor.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's like, is that like a internship type of deal?
Yeah, essentially it can be, they can do it as the intern route, or I'm trying to think who has a really good program.
That's dope. That's dope in itself.
I know at MSU, so because I work with them in their food lab, there was a student and they had students that wanted to help with market research. And I'm like, yes. And I would tell them, like, this is my target. They would go into, like, this Gale database, do all this stuff.
That is dope in itself, because what the thing with college students is, once they get involved and like what they're doing, they might take you to a whole nother level you never even thought you was going, and you might keep them for the next 20 years.
Say something. You might have just found your first real paid worker.
Real paid worker.
Exactly.
That you had no idea. That's why I want some younger cats, because we are getting old, however you put it. We getting old and things are coming so fast, we don't pay attention, especially in business world, because we're business. We on a whole different mindset than what the kids are doing.
Yeah.
So if you get some kids in that know where the world is going, that's a great. Find you an intern or whatever they call. I like that.
Telling you, so think about
like that
social
idea.
media. How many different social medias are coming out? My cousin, Latasha Robertson, she's the CEO and founder of her own nonprofit, Girls Growing to Women. Well, this is a group of young girls. They know all about the different social medias. They keep me young. I could pluck an intern from her. Hey, cousin, any girls interested in being my social media manager? This is the experience I'll give them. If I can afford to pay them a little bit.
Now I got a plug. I need that plug.
Okay.
You see? I like that. Because honestly, that's where my business, that's where my wife does a lot, but we're so busy. But that's where I fail at on the social media side, or on that part. Because first of all, I don't even like it in general, so I have to teach myself how to constantly do. We had this conversation. I have to teach myself. So if I can find someone who specifically does this,
they young,
possibly
they know them all.
give them a little check here and there.
That part, it's not gonna feel like work to them, right?
Yeah,
you know, it's
dope.
apps coming out. We might not, like you said,
we don't even know about.
I think, and I don't. It's crazy for me to say this, but I'm old enough that like Instagram was like the thing that was the thing to me. Now there's probably 5 more different things.
I heard a cat say Facebook ain't nothing but grandkids, grandparents showing off their grandkids, and I was like, dang, that's all I got is Facebook.
Bro, we that generation.
Yeah,
you might as well not even look at it like, nah, we that generation,
we're
bro.
millennials and Gen Z think we're old. That breaks my heart. I'm like, I ain't old.
You can categorize generations by social media now. We Facebook generation.
Facebook
came off of MySpace.
When you say that, it makes
came
me
off
feel
of MySpace.
That's
I remember
hilarious.
MySpace. You probably don't even remember MySpace.
Yeah, I remember.
I do, because you know what? I used to get real fan. You couldn't tell me I wasn't a coder. I used to have the music when you came to my house.
You used to be able to.
That's hilarious. No, I
will say I was
that.
young when it came out. We're not about to make it sound like I'm no old lady. No, you're right. You're spot on with that. Like, what do different generations see? What do they use? How do they approach your product? You got to be open to that, because the last thing you want to be is like a dinosaur, not open to new ideas. You ain't going to make no money if you're not open to new ideas.
Yep.
If kids want to see this tea on TikTok, then I need someone to put it on TikTok for me.
Yeah.
You be open.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious you just said that, because I was just watching my wife was watching she watched these HGTV channel, and it was a chick that I've never seen on this channel, because I watch it all the time, I guess, but she was throwing stuff on the walls and then it just pop up, and I was like, I told my wife, like, she just entered into a whole new zone of TikTok on TV. Because you know how they do the things where you drop something and then all of a sudden something else?
Yeah.
She redoing houses, but at the end of it, she'll throw paint somewhere and then all of a sudden it'll pop up. A brand new house.
Wow.
So I was like, she using TikTok on TV.
See,
I've
look
never
at
seen
that.
You got to be creative and innovative.
I was like, she just tapped into a whole new zone.
That's where your young people keep you modern, keep you just like we used to do for our people back in the day. If you got like any aunties or uncles that lean on you and you kind of keep them cool, That's how you gotta keep your interns gonna keep you cool. You ain't gonna be lame when you got young people that's in the know.
I like that. Utilize what you know. Utilize your space. Utilize your circle.
Yes.
I like that. That's
Any more
dope.
questions? You got another question? I know it's a question that you.
That was a lot. I don't. I haven't.
It's usually a question that you lead out with.
Yeah. I didn't know where it was going there. But yeah, it's can you give the people what? I mean, we pretty much Google shit. But no, can you get the people what they can do to start now?
Yeah.
To do if they want to go into
or anything they want to do,
product-based
whether it's
business.
what you do, whether it's product based. What can a person do today
Yes.
to do that?
I think if you want to have a product-based business, whether you want to invent the next Slinky, the next great kids toy, the next great beverage, take a notebook. So I like notebooks with no lines, so kind of like an artist sketch pad. Draw it out, make it real. You got to make it real for you, right? We'll stick with beverage since beverage is my thing. You want to make the next great beverage. What does it look like? What am I putting this in? Is it a can? Is it a bottle? Is it glass? Is it aluminum? Like, bring the product to life in your mind. Draw it on paper. Like, you gotta make it real, and then you can really start truly making it real. So I didn't necessarily know what this was gonna look like, but I knew I'm like, okay, I need something to put the tea in. I need a container. I want it to be visually pleasing. I don't necessarily want it to be closed off. I want people to see the product because tea's pretty, but you gotta be careful because sunlight can make tea not taste good. So all these things, like, make it real for yourself. Write it out. I live by this. If you don't write it down, it's not real. Not because it's here today, going tomorrow. If something keeps coming back to you, that's good, but write it down.
Write it down.
Because then when you write it down, look it up.
Yes, sir.
Then when you look it up, take some notes.
Yep.
You take some notes, make some calls. Start telling people, like, it only becomes more real when it's real to you.
Oh, let's rewind that back. I think I'm gonna just go and wind it back.
Yes.
Because that's some game right there. Hold on,
Game
wait.
in itself.
That was just 3 steps right there.
Man.
Write it down.
Write it down. You gotta write it down. Make it real.
Make it real.
Make some calls.
Go hard.
That's it.
That simple. Write it down. Make it real to yourself. Go
Yes.
hard.
Yes. I like that. Go hard.
Go hard.
Because you gotta go hard. When it's a product, you
Yeah.
gotta go hard.
I love that.
Dope.
I love that.
So if it's any questions, anybody that may have a product-based business, drop it in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe.
Yes.
and shoot out your information one more time.
Kettle and Hops. So we have a website. I only have a LinkedIn right now. I know we talked about social media, but we'll get the social media popping. Because you got to have something to show to people.
How can they purchase that? Your
So
tea?
you'll probably be able to purchase through online first, through the website. So it's just kettleandhops.com.
Kettleandhops.com.
And then kettleandhops.com.
Yes.
To get the,
Nice.
Is the AND?
You can type it in that way. Like on the logo, it's the ampersand, so the and symbol. But if you type in A&D online, it'll pull it up.
Okay.
It'll
Kettle and
pop up in
Hops.
your Google search.
Kettle and Hops.
And
Check
write it
out.
down.
Yes. Make it real.
Make it real. And go hard.
Go hard.
Start today.
Not tomorrow. And we out.
I love that.
That was
I love that.
So good, yeah.
That is awesome. Kettle and Hops.